Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel much, but I'd actually forgotten what that felt like. Let's give it a minute or so for a few more people to join. But super big dumb face, Coys. I agree. I agree, mate. Coys indeed. Oh, let's I'm gonna kick this off. I think we haven't we all forgotten what that feels like winning the game by a handsome margin. Feels like it's been forever, doesn't it? Like it really does feel like it's been absolutely ages. Um, just good, good. Not going to talk about any of the context, none of that. Don't care. I've already seen it said, oh, these lot finished seventh in Sweden last season. Don't care. Tottenham Hotspur have won 3-0. The young lads have come on, done a sublime job. I was so happy, Mike. I was so happy Mikey Moore got that goal at the end as well. Because I was thinking, like, he's because he's, you know, the hype guy. To suddenly see two of the other youngsters bag a couple of really good goals kind of mugs him off a little bit. Just, like it shouldn't, but it sort of mugs him off a little bit. But lovely jubbly. Through to the next round of the Europa League. Comfortably this time. We didn't want a playoff. We couldn't have done a playoff, like, quite simply. It's not something we could have swallowed. Lost one game, away. Galatasaray, fine. They've done terrible. I can't believe they finished off 14th in the end. They got a really good team. But that's a handsome position we finished in there in the Europa League. I don't really know how the pots and stuff work. Does anyone know? Anyone watching on the stream, if you could tell me when the draw is for this? Does it happen to me? No. Usually European draws are like a couple of weeks after the games, right? Aren't they? And who would we get drawn against in the next one, or do they have to work out they have to do? I guess they have to do the playoffs first. Yeah, this will make sense. They'll do the playoffs first, and then we'll all get chucked into a pot, right? That's what's going to happen. Sorry, I've overcomplicated that when it was actually quite obvious. The answer was staring me right in the face. I'm just a bit giddy. Just a bit giddy. Tottenham have won 3-0, been treated to 3 sublime goals. And I can't have been the only one. I can't have been the only one that at half time, when 3 of the big dogs did come off, and we started the second half quite slowly, I was thinking, oh God, is this like? And I understand. I completely understand. Van der Ven and Richarlison coming off have to manage their minutes. They're both so important to the team. But Bentancur, I don't think Son came off. Hang on. I'm trying to work out when Son came off, because I didn't think he came off at half time. If he came off slightly after half time, okay. No, basically came off at half time. Yeah, fine. Wasn't paying attention. But Sonny's minutes need to be managed as well. This is really bad. I'm sorry. This is a really bad podcast. I'm so unprepared for Tottenham winning, and I know it's Elfsborg. I don't care. Like, the thing that we need to cling on to here, the important thing to cling on to here, is that we've had all these sort of so-called easy games the past few weeks, Everton, Leicester, and everything, and we've not managed to get the job done. The script as it stands right now says that Spurs can't get a win for hope or, you know, hope or whatever. Is it hope or glory? I don't know. Whatever. Love or nothing. I don't know. What am is it like don't hit a gift horse in the bush? Mixing up like idioms and stuff. The fact that we've come through this game, a game that I would imagine there are a lot of people licking their chops waiting for this to be another Tottenham loss. And we've come through that and we've done it 3-0. And we've done it in the fashion that we did. We've done it with those three young lads getting, getting a moment that they're going to be able to cherish for the rest of their lives. Like coming on under the lights, White Hart Lane, a pretty much full house, to an expectant crowd, a crowd who are probably starting to think we might lose this one. And I've got a bit of an Ange throat at the moment, don't I? I keep like clearing my throat. I keep coughing a bit. Beg your pardon. That they've come on and they've just, do you know what I mean? They've done the business. They've done it. And I know we can get all wound up about like how Spurs' league form is, the fact that we're 15th in the Premier League and all that stuff. But just for tonight, let's just forget all that. Let's just focus on the fact that, as Ange Postecoglou says, he's always won something in his second season. We're still firing in 3 cup competitions. Let's just go with this, man. Like, let's just keep this energy for tonight. Let's keep this joy and like just hang on to it. Don't let it get polluted by other stuff. I know there are bigger conversations to be had, and I have them plenty on like many of these podcasts. However, this is going to be this is good. Gaze Tronic says, "Can you imagine Levy sanctioning any new signings now?" Yeah. Do you need Ange? Do you need? I'll do it in my old animation voice. Ange, do you need Matthias Tell anymore? I quite like the look of Dane Scarlett the other night, actually. For anyone that doesn't know, I used to many moons ago do a load of football animations, and one of the characters that was much loved was my depiction of Daniel Levy. So that was there was a little bit of the voice for you there. Yeah, can you imagine? I don't know. Right now, I thought Dane's. I'm in that giddy zone of like, I don't want Matthias Tell either. I just want Dane Scarlett. He looks quality. What a finish! What an absolute finish! What an absolute finish! That's so Partridge. What an absolute finish! See the match, lads? Dunno. This is mad. Not in the way of like, I'm so crazy. This is mad with the bag of chips on my head. I just honestly, it's felt like so long that I've actually been kind of this happy after a Spurs game. I do love European football. I really love European football. I have to say that. I would love for us to win this. It'd be the biggest. It would be the biggest thing like I've won in my lifetime. When did we last win it? 84. Yeah, biggest thing we've won in my lifetime by a long way. And this it would not be, in my opinion. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but it would not, in my opinion, be Tin Pot if we did an open top bus down the Seven Sisters for this. I think Europa League you can get away with that. League Cup, I'm just going to say no. No open top bus for a League Cup. Open top bus for an FA Cup, yes, as is tradition. Tradition. Open top bus for a Europa League, 100%. And imagine the scenes. Imagine this, and I'm going to get lost. People say, "Don't get ahead of yourself." I'm going to get ahead of myself. I'm going to do it. Imagine the scenes. Imagine heading up to Tottenham, up to the high road. Everyone in colours, scarves wrapped round heads, People lobbing bog rolls, like bog roll streamers all over the place as the bus comes. And all the lads atop the bus, all pissed up, wearing novelty hats and everything like that. Who would be our one to who would get on the mic and sing songs about Arsenal? Probably none of us. Actually, we're above all that, aren't we? Ah, dear. Zeros and One says we would dominate the Swedish league. Well, don't know if we would, mate. Like they did finish seventh in the Swedish league. I just got to say that. Wilson T says, "Evening, Jacko. So glad Mikey scored. So am I, mate. Like I say, I'm really, really happy he got on the score sheet as well. And what a goal as well. Um, Beat plate. What a win. Lovely to see the young guys score. Could give the club a much needed lift. And I think that's what I'm clinging on to here, mate. Like that's what I'm clinging on to here. Because I think just the manner of that, it felt somewhat like a bit of a weight has been lifted. It felt like Ange was buzzing towards the end, and fair play, you could see that he was. I'd imagine he's been under a lot of pressure, quite a lot of stress. I mean, he says like he tried to sort of brush it off, didn't he, in his press conference, saying like, "Nah, I don't feel that. I've had pressure my whole career. I don't feel it." It's like, fella, come on, man. Like, you keep marching up to like, people in the sidelines, like making one with fans and stuff, and getting him roused with reporters and stuff. Like, it doesn't. He's a man of a certain generation, right? He's a man of a certain generation. They don't like to show any sign of weakness, especially in a mental sense. And I get it, right? He's no, no, I don't feel any pressure. Not me. It's like, mate, we can see it, and it's nice. It's nice that he's had that alleviated a little bit this evening. 3-0, good win. I was going to say no more injuries, but Dragusin got injured, and that saw the unlikely inclusion of Dane Scarlett. I honestly, I could not tell you what our formation was by the end of the game, but class is what it was. I'll say that. Al Bridges says 3 wise men, more like 3 young men. Did Hoddle really say that? I think he did. I think he did. Ben Austin, where are those Levy haters now? Come on, let's be having you. I mean, I don't think I'd describe myself as a Levy hater, but I think there's a lot of legitimate criticism to be had of Daniel Levy, but we'll save that for tonight. So we're just going to stay in the happy place tonight. All right. I said I would stay there, and I'm going to. Conor Mumry, I think I've heard of him before. He's spoken to him before or something. I think says Gucha. I think that's a reference to a popular Chaz and Dave song. So I've been told anyway. Thomas Mullen says 3 Musketeers. Jask says Sar at left back actually made me laugh. Just the thought of it. Okay, I didn't realise that he. That's kind of, I guess, that's where the formation went. It's quite funny. Sorry, the comments and stuff have just refreshed. Carl Karlstead says it does feel good. I'm assuming he means just winning a game, which is fantastic. Chris says love nor money. There you go. That's what I was looking for, wasn't it? Love nor money. Couldn't buy a win for love nor money. Yes. Now we've got one. 3-0. Adam Withers, we needed that. Yep. Hockey Animal 37. Levy in. Right. I'm telling you now, no, I'm not really. I was going to boot him out of the chat, but I thought that would be a bit mean, wouldn't it? Hotspur Sam, wonderful from Mikey Moore. He reminds me of Jimmy Greaves in stature, gait, and movement. I mean, wow. I mean, that's a big billing to live up to there, Sam. I obviously didn't see any of Jimmy Greaves. I've seen a couple of black and white clips of his. I've seen one goal in particular that he scored against Manchester United, where he basically skinned the entire United team and finished beautifully. So he was obviously a player. My dad Loved him. Would always go on about him whenever I'd be going on about Harry Kane. I don't think he's quite as good as I don't think he's quite as good as Greaves. I mean, he is good, Harry. He is good, Harry, but I don't think he's quite as good as Jimmy Greaves was. All right. Thanks for letting me enjoy something. um, duh, duh, duh. Hacker says, mate, when you move house, can you make the room between two ferns themed? Don't have to, of course, but that would be class IMO. Um, Maybe no, but I probably won't, mate. But I get where you're coming from, and I'll take that as a compliment. Um, Seymour Shepherdson, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. No, I know, but I get that one. I was Love Nor Money was the one I was messing up. I said don't knock a gift horse in the bush because there's a certain word for when people mix up idioms when they say them incorrectly. So it's like a gift horse in the hand is worth one in the bush, um, so on and so forth. Max says, I miss the animations. Thank you, mate. It's been quite a while. I slip them in every now and again. I do little bits when I do a little Spurs wipe, or every now and again, if I get a rando little idea, I'll do one of the little animations. They just take, do you know what? They take a really, really long time to do. Um, and also, I'm too conscious nowadays. I'm too old. Do you know what I mean? When I was younger and had more reckless abandon, I could just make kind of problematic cartoons with silly voices and flapping heads and stuff. Now everything, now I'm so much more conscious of time and so much more conscious of, you know, just doing things that have actually got some worthwhile quality to them. That's why I sit here and talk into a microphone after every single football match. High art, high art. This is all a performance piece. You know when Mark Goldbridge first burst onto the scene and everybody was like, he's not actually a football influencer. What this is it's almost like this kind of like takedown of football influencers. He's like a parody figure. Um, and I do, to be fair, I do actually feel like he was that at first. And then he started getting massive, massive numbers. And I would imagine the YouTube coin and everything else started coming in. And he's just kind of become like a Man United vlogger now, hasn't he? So there you go. A lot of people don't really like him though. He's got I don't know. I met him before when I worked at 90 Min with Hainsey. We shot a thing with Mark Goldbridge before. I think I've got a selfie with him. I'll post it at some point. um, yeah, he was all right. He was fine. Mark Lobley says feels like a weight lifted. I just agree, mate. Seymour Shepherdson says that we could have an open top bus for the League Cup. No. Although it's been a long time, hasn't it? Maybe I should just say people can just have fun. If that's what people want to do, then people should be able to do it. Lara Shannon says yes. Also, still do red inch, red inch or orange, red inch or orange inch. Well, that was it. As Tony Soprano says, though, remember when is the lowest form of conversation. So let's get talking about tonight again. Still 3-0 to Tottenham Hotspur. Oh God, William Gardner, good lad, good mate of mine. After all the recent misery, that second half was exactly what we needed. Goals being scored by young prospects and decent goals at that. Part one of two. Part two of two. I know currently we're interested in Hawks FC, but long term, having these youth prospects is really exciting. Nice one, Jack. Top man. It is exciting, isn't it? It is exciting, and it's so funny to think that we've got these sort of these young lads coming on tonight. That even players like Bergval, Berryval, Bayval, Archie Gray, Mikey Moore, you could probably just about loop Pape Matar into this one as well, are all very young players. Like, they're all very young players still. And it's only sort of, we're bringing on, like, Scarlett and stuff. It's like Scarlett's older than all of them. I think. He might not be older than Sarr. Might be the same. No, Sarr's 22. Wow. Okay, I thought Sarr was like 20 as well. Dane Scarlett's 20. I've got to say, and I'm not just saying this, the few times we've seen Dane Scarlett, like when he's been brought on, I'm trying to think about what games he's played in, like preseason friendlies. So I think that kind of skews things a bit because I've seen him play in a few preseason friendlies. But I think he's made a couple of like substitute appearances, I think, in Europa League or FA Cup or League Cup games for us. I want to say, I want to say he came on against Burnley in the FA Cup last year when Pedro Porro scored that rocket. Remember the rocket goal? And I want to say Dane Scarlett came on in that game. But regardless of when he has or has not come on, in the games he has come on, I've always kind of thought Dane Scarlett looks quite handy. I've always thought he looks quite decent. Like, I'm not, I don't want to throw the kid under the bus or anything, but like the past few games when we've seen like Will Lancashire come on, I think it's led to a sort of sense that everyone can see, okay, that's maybe why Ange isn't playing him. When we've had Solanke out and Richarlison's been half fit, and I still probably think Lancashire could have gotten some minutes against Tamworth, but still, like when you do see Lancashire come on, you are kind of like, yeah, I mean, he looks like a decent-ish young player, but he looks quite far off it. But whenever I see Scarlett come on, I'm like, because it's suddenly like a year or so ago, he obviously went through a massive growth spurt and turned from basically a boy into a man. Because he was always quite slight, wasn't he? He was always just like he was like a little boy a few years ago, and now he's actually quite big. He's filled out a lot. He moves quite nicely. I think he seems to read the game quite nicely. His touch is maybe a little heavy at times, but he still looks like a decent young player. And I know people will say, well, he's hardly even played at Oxford. That's why he's come back here. You can't expect him to be playing lots of Premier League football. But I'm gonna make a comparison that a lot of people aren't gonna like. But Harry Kane went to Leyton Orient, went to Millwall, went to Norwich, went to Leicester. And in a lot of those loan spells, came back and people were like, he's all right. In saying that, my mate Jack, who's a Millwall fan, says that's kind of bollocks. Says that like whenever Kane played for Millwall, they were all like, this kid's a player. This kid's going to be quality. So I think it was mostly more like his Norwich and Leicester spells, which were a bit iffy. And then the rest, as they say, is history. But still, I quite like Dane Scarlett. I like the way he moves. I definitely like that goal today. What a header. And also, beautiful, beautiful layoff for Ajayi. I mean, what a run. What a run. What a finish. Like that second goal was beautiful. The second goal, they were all one. The thing is, what was so good about this is not only have we scored 3 goals, they were all I couldn't tell you which one was my favourite out of them. They were all actually I could. I think Scarlett's goal was my favourite, if I'm gonna be brutally honest. Mikey Moore's and the Jays were both really, really, really nice goals though. Seamus Hart says we can draw Galatasaray, Real Sociedad, Midtjylland, or AZ Alkmaar. Is that true? Where have you heard that, Seamus? Do we not just get chucked into a pot? Doesn't everyone get chucked into a pot? Hockey Animal 37. How good is Archie Gray? I think we forget he's only 18. Yeah, I agree. Like, I do forget he's only 18. I was just making that point there because he is unbelievable. I will completely hold my hands up and say I was somebody that was rolling my eyes when we signed him we spent 40 mil on him in the summer on an 18-year-old. I'd heard of him maybe once, as in like people saying that Archie Gray lad's good. But do you know what I mean? Just in and amongst many of the other sort of players that people say are good. Um, I know this sounds like a really sort of ridiculous point, but when I heard that he was from like a bit of a kind of like his family is a very like footballing royalty family. I think his da or his granddad won the Champions League with Nottingham, or the European Cup, we should say, with Nottingham Forest. I think he was part of that team. I think his dad was also a player as well. But I mean this genuinely. I don't just mean this in a trite way. Like you almost get the feeling that we've underpaid with 40 million. Like the kid looks unbelievable from pretty much from the second he's started making appearances for Spurs. He's just it's the same as like we had with Delhi. I mean, very different types of players and stuff. But do you remember like when Delhi he played in that preseason friendly against Real Madrid, was mugging off Real Madrid's midfield, nutmegging like Luka Modric and everything. And I think everyone was just kind of like, "Oh right, this kid is yeah, he's actually like he's I mean, we don't you don't want to get too excited over a preseason friendly, but this kid is ready." And Dele Alli was ready. And it feels very much like Archie Gray is just class, isn't he? Like really, really good. And it's a difficult one because there's that hesitant part of me that's like, once we've got everybody fit again, we should be managing his minutes though. He is still young. Like he's young. He's got green bones, you know? Like let's just let him develop a little bit, right? And just good things will come to us, like if we just kind of have a bit of patience with him. But then at the same time, he's just so quality. He's so good that you don't really want to just have him sort of sat there making the odd sort of piecemeal appearances. But maybe I don't know. Good things come to those who wait, in it. Laura Shannon says Van de Ven's only like 22. Yeah, and I think Decky's only about 22, 23 as well. I think he's younger than like Saka and Foden, isn't he? Kulusevski. Oh, he's 24. Right, he's 24. Um, but I still think he's like younger than Saka and Foden, Kulusevski, if my memory serves. Just having a bit of a decaffeinated tea there, if you needed to know. It's late. And I'm old now. No caffeine after about 4 o'clock for me. Sun 33, what's going to happen to Ange if we lose on Sunday? Um, let's not talk about that right now. Just don't want to. Grant Echo Sonic Dane played in the FA Cup last season. I thought so, and like I say, think maybe it was that Burnley game. Maybe played in other games as well as that. Seamus Hart says so it was Seamus who said previously that we can draw Galatasaray, Real Sociedad, Midtjylland, or AZ Alkmaar. And I asked him, "How do you know that?" He said, "Because the pots are seeded in advance." So I'll take your word for it, Seamus, because you might be winding me up, or you might be winding everyone else up, but I'm going to take your word for it because I'm a trusting person like that. If you phone me up and tell me you're here, you're calling about my car accident I had, and all I need to do is give you my card details. I'll just give you my card details, and then I'll hang the phone up and I'll say I haven't had a car crash. What's going on? Oh well, person seemed very nice. I'm sure he won't do anything bad with it. That's who I am, you know. Darren Kilburn, we need to win 3 or 4 in a row in the Premier League, to say we are getting somewhere. We won no, okay, look, Darren, we're not I told you we're staying in it. I get it, I definitely get it. Like, I'm concerned about the league. I've complained about Ange Postecoglou, Daniel Levy on many pods in the past few weeks and everything. You can go back and listen to those if you choose to, or if not, fine, up to you. But right now, we're just staying in the good place tonight. Spurs have won 3-0. Happy days. Let's bask in the kind of the glow of the. I don't want to sort of. I was going to start talking about like the youthful energy of the players that score goals. I was like, starting to sound a bit noncy. So that's I'm not. I'm just. We Spurs won 3-0. It's good. And the academy lads scored goals. We should be happy about that. Evan Newell says, I hope Dragusin is okay, but him going off was the catalyst to breaking the game open. Before that, we were heading for trouble. My one not good placing is Dragusin's just he's a shambolic footballer, man. I'm sorry. He's so bad. He's so bad. IMHO. Let's do the players. Let's do the players. So, Brandon Austin, clean sheet, commanding in the air. Didn't really have an awful lot to do, but I thought distributed the ball well, claimed the ball well when he needed to. Good performance. Good performance. And you know what? I'm actually really glad he's getting this opportunity to get these minutes in the Europa League, because it's nice to have a homegrown club trained, I'm guessing, goalkeeper that's actually all right. Like, I don't think there's. I did sort of say he dived a little bit after the fact in the game the other day, that he looked like a FIFA goalkeeper a little bit, but still, that was just me sort of trying to have a laugh at somebody else's expense. And he's a highly paid professional footballer. I'm an overweight hairy man doing a podcast, so who's winning? I'm not punching down, am I? Let's put it that way. Ben Davis, give him a new contract. Give him a contract for life. Give him that contract. I don't want to hear. Look, I don't want to hear anybody talking to me about Ben Davis not being good, not being of the required quality, all that type of thing. He absolutely is. He's a steady Eddie. He loves the club. He loves the club. Remember all those quotes he said before? Remember all the quotes he said before? When he was talking about it makes him proud every time he pulls on that shirt, that one day his little boy can go to school and say, my dad played for Tottenham Hotspur for 10 years. That's what you want, man. Like, we talk about the likes of Sol Campbell and all these lot. Like, I did a tweet earlier because like UEFA shared a clip of Dimitar Berbatov's goals against was it Braga or someone like that? That beautiful goal when I think Huddleston plays that crossfield ball, takes it on his chest and volleys it to the roof of the net. Beautiful. One of the most beautiful goals I've ever seen in the flesh. Wonderful, wonderful goal. I said just like, oh, what a player he was. He's so underrated. Still, even there, I had somebody, he snaked us. Can't look at him the same way again. It's like, yeah, I know. All right. I get all this, right? We say all this. But then there's players like Ben Davis who give everything every time they play for Spurs. And I get it. I get it. He's not, he's not the same sort of player as somebody like Mickey van der Ven. But at the same time, Ben Davis has been so dependable for us for a decade now and still is. I still say you can probably count on one hand the amount of times Ben Davis, and this isn't an actual stat, I'm just speaking in kind of, casual football terms. You can probably count on one end the amount of times Ben Davis has made a mistake that's led to, a huge glaring error that's led to a goal for the opposition. Like I always quite like Kieran Trippier. I always thought Kieran Trippier was much maligned, to be honest, and is a decent player. Kieran Trippier made loads of massive mistakes. He'd always have a massive fart in him, like an arse fart, an arse flap, a wobble. Always. You never see anything like that from Ben Davies. I think maybe one. I think maybe once I've seen him have a flap, but other than that, he's a great player. He's a versatile player. He loves the club. He's clearly got an engine on him. He's clearly fit. He's an athlete, and he's an athlete in a in his own sense. He's not a Mickey van der Ven athlete, but who is? That's why Mickey van der Ven's Mickey van der Ven. Ben Davies is a good player. Seasons like this should show you the importance of players like Ben Davies. Really, seasons like this, to me, I'm just saying it, highlight the importance of players even like Oliver Skip. We would have absolutely used Oliver Skip a lot this season with the amount of injuries and everything we've got. And people say, well, you can't, legislate for the sort of injuries that we've got. You still you need a big squad, especially when you play with the intensity of a manager like Ange Postecoglou. Ben Davies, give him a contract for life. Let him retire at Spurs. Retire the 33 shirt along with Ben Davies in what? How old is he? I seem to be going off on players' ages today. I'm going to guess Ben Davies is 32. Ben Davies is 31. There you go. Spring chicken. Fine. He can play for, give him a 4-year contract. Give him till he's 35. Do it. Ben Davies to me, I know I'm devoting about 56 minutes to Ben Davies here. Ben Davies for me is one of those players like a Johnny Evans who would leave Spurs and go into a lot of teams in the Premier League and just look like a really solid, really dependable, really good player. Welsh international, lots of experience at Tottenham Hotspur, playing Champions League football, playing football, under a lot of pressure, all that type of stuff. He's a wonderful player. He's a really, really good player. And Seamus Hart said he actually recently got an economics degree as well. Get you a man who can do both. He's going to be, do you know what he's going to be getting an economics degree? He's going to be one of those players. Like, I'm sure many of you know this. And for those of you that don't, look it up. You can fact check me. Matthew Flamini, who used to play for Arsenal, basically used the money he made as a footballer and started investing it into, I want to say like biotechnology or something like that, and is now like a billionaire. He's like a tech billionaire. Absolute genius guy. I think he's got some huge like lab or something in Switzerland. Tech bill. It's mental. It's a really mad story. Quite interesting. Grant Echo Sonic says Ben Davies's Premier League career, errors leading to a goal won. I'm going to take, again, like I said, I'm a trusting person, Grant. I'm going to take you on your word there. But that sounds about right to me. Mickey van der Ven, what a joy to have him back. Again, I couldn't have been the only one that was wincing every time he touched the football, every time he ran back. But it really does make you realise, like, just what a super weapon he is. Remember, like, this is a reference for all the basically decrepit millennials now. Remember back in the day when you play games like Command and Conquer, especially Command and Conquer Red Alert, and you get to that point where if you built quickly enough, you could get like the mammoth tank or something like that. And you knew you could just take that to the opposition and batter them with it. Because it was just such a powerful weapon. It was such a game-changing, like powerful member of like your army. And that's just what Mickey van der Ven is. You cannot, we're just a completely different side of him. You saw it from the first half to the second half. The second half is obviously where we got our goals. But the second half is also where we did struggle for a while at first until we got that kind of youthful, reckless abandon invited onto the pitch. It's the second time I've said reckless abandon in this podcast. Um, Change your record, mate. Mickey van der Ven, just, I mean, look, what a player. What a player. I'm glad we're managing his minutes. Ange said in his pre-match presser that we would be being especially careful with Mickey van der Ven. We would be managing his minutes. So I wasn't surprised to see him go off at halftime. I was actually surprised to see him start the game. If I'm honest, I thought he would come on at some point. But yeah, we managed his minutes. And that's good. That's a good thing. Archie Gray, spoken about him a lot already this evening. What a player. Wonderful. Just wonderful. Pedro Porro, decent performance tonight. The lad never stops running, does he? Hopefully he gets a rest in the coming weeks, like with Jed Spence coming back into the fold. Um, he'll be able to at least relax and recoup a bit of energy, perhaps. Lucas Bergvall maybe had something of a point to prove playing against Swedish opposition, probably knew a lot of folks back home, old mates, all that type of thing would be watching with especially keen kind of eyes this evening. And it felt like he was quite overly excited at the start of the game, right? There were a few times when Ange was like telling him to calm it down a bit. He was sort of quite erratic with his tackling, and he often is. And that's a youthful thing, right? That's his age. That's what it is. He's enthusiastic. And he wants to get stuck in. He wants to win every ball. And you don't want to really hammer that out of a young player, but he is going to get a red card at some point. I think that's inevitable. He's going to get a red card at some point, and that'll probably be the thing that, maybe it will be a learning experience for him, and it will be something he'll learn and grow from. But right now, you don't want to be hammering like a young player who's showing as much effort, showing as much commitment as he is. He's a lovely, lovely player. That in the second half as well, the diving header, to get on the end of that, like the diving header, the way he executed that, his vision to see it, the execution of it was sublime. It's little things like that are just exciting. When you just know that a player is like got a certain amount of quality that is reserved to only a few. When you're like, okay, well, I get it. You're this kind of like box to box metronomic type midfielder. Oh, and you've still got like a spectacular diving header in your toolbox as well. Like you're just a quality footballer. So yeah, very nice. Rodrigo Bentancur, yeah, he was okay. I guess he kept things ticking over. You'd expect him to play well in a game against Elfsborg. To be honest with you, fine. Pape Matasar, Ange says he was, all right for today. I think he started off the game pretty bright, didn't he? Lots of nice passing, lots of nice movement. I had a couple of nice shots and stuff like that. Definitely drifted as the game went on, definitely faded. Probably part of that is down to the fact, as I was told in the comments, that he actually switched to left back as well after Dragason's injury. So that probably makes sense. But, I love Pape Matasar. I say it a lot on here, and I think he's a wonderful player. So yeah, Sonny, lovely Sonny performance tonight for the half. Anyway, was roasting the opposition team, time after time after time. It's nice to see him doing that. Nice to see him get a bit of confidence back, and also, as I keep calling for, having his minutes managed. It was a shame to see him go off at halftime, but obviously the manager had faith in the fact that we had more than enough to get the job done without the big boys playing, and he was right. You have to hand that to the manager. And now we've got Sonny, who is hopefully buoyant, got a bit of confidence to go into the game against Brentford. Richarlison, good performance. Presses, does everything that we want a striker in this system to do, much like Dominic Solanke does. Works pretty tirelessly for the team. I think he drifted out left for a while as well, didn't he? A bit later on in the game. Um, when Scarlett came on, I think Richarlison went up left. Um, but yeah, he's let's just hope he stays fit. That's the main thing with Richarlison, right? He's quite he's obviously quite injury prone, isn't he? And everything. So just keep managing those minutes, get some more minutes in his legs, get a bit more match sharpness. Because he's going to be invaluable. Mikey Moore, lovely performance. Started off the game really, really bright. I think he dipped a little bit in the middle of the game. I think he just was maybe getting a bit frustrated. I think a few things weren't quite going his way. I think his touch let him down a couple of times in the middle of the game, but then he obviously ended as strong as he possibly could have done with a mazy run, taking on a couple of players and then slotting it into the bottom corner. 3-0 to Tottenham. He was obviously buzzing. Lovely finish, lovely goal, lovely little player. Hotspur Sam already in this stream has likened him to Jimmy Greaves. I'll say again, like I said before, there's an almost like young Jack Grealish like quality about Mike. Not quite identical. I think he maybe moves a little sort of differently to Jack Grealish, but sort of not. But when he's got the ball at his feet, I don't know. It's just nice. It's nice the way he strikes the ball. He's very the thing that shows Mikey Moore's quality for me, and again, it's one of these really like basic points, but he like puts his foot through the ball so cleanly. He strikes the ball so cleanly. His passes are always very crisp. They're always very direct. They're always like to the man. He's got lovely technique. He's an exciting young player. A really exciting young player. Radu Dragusin, went off. Yves Basuma, decent performance, helped control the game as he always does. Dejan Kulusevski, the same. I don't know how he hasn't fallen to pieces yet. He runs so much every time he plays football for us, but well done, Dejan. Dane Scarlett, lovely goal. Good performance, like laid off. I don't think that will count as an assist, will it? But lovely, lovely layoff for Ajayi. Like I was saying earlier, I just think he's a nice player. Ajayi, lovely run, lovely finish for the lad. What a moment! He was buzzing. The substitute bench was buzzing. Jed Spence especially was really, really happy for the lad. So that's good. All in all, Tottenham Hotspur 3, Elfsborg 0. Wonderful, wonderful performance. Wonderful result. Let's just bask in that. Let's enjoy it. Let's hopefully take that energy, that spirit into the weekend, and just sort of get this miserable Premier League form off our back, right? Get that done. Apparently we've never won at Brentford, so maybe not. But look, let's not focus on that today. I think I'll call that there. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you are watching this on YouTube, please drop it a like, subscribe, put on notifications, all that sort of stuff. I'm trying to put out more and more YouTube stuff now. There will be another one of my like Sporkle quiz things coming in the next couple of days. So look out for that. You can watch any of those old ones as well. People seem to like them. I enjoy doing them. So give it a go. Also got Patreon, patreon.com/RTRpod, where there's preview pods and all that type of thing. But if you don't want to do any of that, please just, if you listen to the pod, please leave a rating, please leave a review. It's all helpful. Share stuff wherever you share things, all that type of stuff. But thank you very much, everybody. Come on, you Spurs. Up the Spurs. Let's enjoy that. Let's soak in it. Let's bask in it. It's lovely, lovely, lovely to get a nice Spurs win. A weight has been lifted, hopefully. And let's carry that energy through to the end of the season. Let's win something. Let's win something, Ange. Let's win something, lads. Come on. Let's do it. Come on, you Spurs.